Hey.
You streaming?
I give it just a couple seconds.
Hey, you're live. It says Friday 13th though.
Yeah, I'll have to go in and edit. They don't want to watch Friday the 13th. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is D-Blaze84 with Mr. Happy Hogan. We are here today to talk about D&D. It is D&D Friday. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm updating, so. Did it update? Hopefully it did. Why aren't you? Yeah, it should. There we go. Yay! I'm gonna turn on my volume. So this is your time where you can ask any questions, anything you want. I have it on my phone so I can see what you guys are talking about, what you're asking. I guess we can just start off with like just the basic stuff, like what you'll need for D&D if you're just a regular player. So of course, get your bag, your dice. It's like what? I think it's
7 dice. You should be able to look them up anywhere. There are like D100 dice, but you don't need them because you'll hardly ever use them.
Think that's it. I don't really use the percentile dice.
No, the percentile dice you use in very rare occasions, but it is there. So your main D&D best friend dice is going to be your D20.
Whee!
So D20 is a 20-sided dice. That's what all the D stand for. A D8 is 8-sided dice. D4 4-sided dice. So your D20 is essentially what you're used to roll for everything. Hey, I want to try to open this door that's really strong. You gotta roll the D20. Hey, I want to attack this guy over there with my little stabby thing. You gotta roll a D20.
Stabby thing?
Pretty much, right?
Or if you want to cast illusions 5 times.
Yeah, if you want to cast illusions, I want to look for a trap so I don't snap my foot off.
Or get
gotta roll a D20.
Hung up upside down when you walk through a door. Check doors when you walk in.
Yes. So D&D consists of at least 2 players, right? So you need the one guy.
Can you see that? That's 4.
Yep, that's the D4. So you need the one guy that's the DM, or sometimes they'll call him GM for Game Master, DM for Dungeon Master. Not that kind of Dungeon Master. If you're over 18, you know what that is.
Or maybe under 18. You never know.
Yeah, it's different these days. Or identify as under 18. Not even going to go there. We'll hit that off on a different stream. All right. So for the DM wise, there's 3 main books you'll probably want to pick up. 2 for sure, and then 1 is a side one. So your number 1 is this guy. So it's the Dungeon Master Guidebook. See that? See that? Perfect. See that? I should say. Perfect. No. This guide essentially gives you your basics for everything. How to DM, what to do in certain situations, how attacking works, how defending, how to create NPCs, how to create towns, how you determine your movement speed, the time of day, how much you need to eat. Literally every single thing is in this book. The number 2 thing you'll want, and this is more for your players, but you'll definitely want to know it, is the Player's Handguide Book. See that? See that? Perfect. So this book, pretty self-explanatory. It's for the players. It kind of tells them how to do each thing. Has all your races, your classes, how to build your character, what happens in certain situations, if they upgrade, they level up, what they need to do. And the last one, it's not necessary, but it's pretty handy, is the Monster Manual Boom. Boom. And this one, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's just a manual full of monsters. It's good to see because it will tell you different types of monsters, what they can do, what their CR, which stands for combat rating, is. You know, just kind of how to play as the monster. Because as the DM, you're everybody else. You're the monsters, you're the NPCs, you're the storm coming in at 100 miles an hour 50 feet away from you. You're everything. Any questions so far? Alright, perfect. We'll just get along right with it.
Also, have a handy notebook. You're going to record a lot of stuff, so it's always nice to have it because I'll show you the sheets real quick. I'll show you the sheet that I used, and then like I have like I think I just have the 2 because I think I gave Clint the other one.
Yeah.
So you need a total of 3 sheets. So here's the main of the first that you're going to use. Sorry, I got to get this. That has all the info that you can think of. Everything from your name to your class. It has all your skills on the sides and like everything you're carrying. You flip it over, and which one's this one? I think it just goes more into your character. And it's like a little extra slots where you can put like
it's what your character looks like, how tall they are, stuff like that. It's not as necessary, but the first page he showed you is a huge necessity.
And here's your spell casting page. So as you can see, it's lengthy. You could fit a lot into it, but as you go, I didn't think it was going to be an issue for me. But you collect a lot of crap. So just for my items alone, I had to write out on separate pieces of paper. Like, I think I have like 2 front and back that I am using for like my items alone. So it's definitely good to have that extra scrap paper. And plus, it's nice to have it so like if anything major comes along that you think you need to remember for further missions or campaigns, you have it written down so you can refer back to your notes and say, oh yeah, this is what Dumbledore did.
Yep. And every DM's different, but what Dustin will definitely tell you is DM does not forget a whole lot of stuff. He will find that one thing you forget and throw it right into your face, and you'll be like, "Ah, son of a gun, that was like 8 weeks ago."
or like we have a guy in our group who wanted to start fresh, and so his original character and one of our other characters had like books that you had to have one or you had to have them both. You couldn't have one, you couldn't have this one. You had to have them both to work. And when he died, all of his stuff went poof. So that was pretty much rendered useless. So it's definitely good to always keep track of every item you have and the damage wise, because you don't just picture yourself as the dungeon master, right? You have to take that week prep time to come up with a campaign. You have to come up with the enemies you're fighting and every possible outcome you can think of that people are going to do. And then you're going to have somebody who's going to go, hey, Matt, what damage does a pig sticker do? What damage does a throwing knife do? And if you don't know it, you got to look it up. It takes time. So it's always, it's speaking to like a player perspective. Know your stuff, write it down. And if you don't know before you go asking the DM, look it up. There's several stuff. I'll have Matt bring it up, but there is plenty of free apps out there that it'll help you tremendously. There's one that I could do that because you have that up. So if there's any questions,
yeah. So like you're saying, so there's several free apps, and one main thing to know before we get into the more of the monster stuff is the DM is the rule guy. There's a lot of rules in this book, but think of this book more of a guide for the DM. Whatever he says goes. So, for example, in our campaign, I don't feel it's necessary to look at all the food, make sure the players are eating a certain amount.
Or amounts.
Thank you. Going, oh, hey.
See if I can... yeah, it's hard to see because of the background. But There's one. It's called Complete Reference, and it's for D&D, the 5th edition. And with that, you can look up race, class, items, spells, anything you can think of. And they have another one. It's D&D and Beyond, and that's more you have to. It's like it's the books, but on your phone, so you have to pay for them.
I think one's free. But
yeah, it's the main guide one. I think is free. But so if you just keep in mind, if you go on there and you have some books, I would use that to buy books that you don't have that you want.
Yeah, definitely. And then another one that I use as the DM a lot. There's a few other apps, I use quite a bit of them. But another main one I use is called Bestiary. And essentially what that is you can look up or sort by, the CR type. And it's several different monsters just really quick on the go, on the fly that I have access to, so I don't have to look in this giant monster manual. Because the monster manual only sorts it one way. It's really hard to look for, their stuff. And as a DM, I promise you, if you DM, your players will always find a situation that you will not expect.
Yeah.
Great example happened a few weeks ago. So, the party, which I believe there's, we started at like 6 and now it got down to 4. So, some people can make it, life happens, understandable. But the party, they get to this town, right? Clearly knew it was a bad town. So, they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get into the town without being caught because everyone's looking for us? So, one guy stayed back. The other 2 were going to go in. The plan was, one's going to go in. They're going to approach the city. The other one was a tiefling class, one of the more rare ones in my world. And he was going to act like he was a slave. So, what does this rogue do? Granted, he's evil. Everyone knew he was evil. He goes to the gate and goes, "Hey, I have a prisoner for you." And the tiefling guy's just like, "Are you joking me right now?" So the rogue just got some money, and the tiefling had to figure out how to break out of prison. So I was not expecting to do a whole day's worth of that town. But just try to be ready to think of stuff on the fly. And try to reward your players for doing stuff that are their flaws. So character flaws, everybody has them. And if they play to that flaw, it kind of stinks. But hey, just make sure, as the DM, you reward that player for doing it.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this editing. It's awesome.
I made you a song. Ricky, what song did you make?
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Do you still have a bucket?
Let's do this. Sorry, guys. I'm trying. It's hard for me to use my computer because I don't have like a gamer PC. I have just a regular PC, so I'm trying. I want to keep as much running on it as possible when I stream, because when a ton is running on it, you know how it is. It starts to slowly lag. Yep. Right now, also because nobody's here, it's just us. The only internet being used is on here. I guess my PS4 because I have something running in the background, but. So I'm just trying to get everything set up on my phone. I'm not ignoring you. I know Matt's explaining, and I'm letting him do his thing.
Yeah. So I apologize if I'm looking down. Just trying to read the comments. Don't want to miss out what you guys are saying. We're still waiting on that song, so can't wait to hear that or read that when it comes back. Ricky, if you post it and give a subscribe, I'll even sing it live on video. No, I won't sing. I have a horrible singing voice.
Oh, we'll sing it.
We'll try to sing it.
I sang Pokemon for subscribers last year. I will sing your song as long. Just remember, it's got to be family friendly. I do have cousins who are younger who watch, so I try to keep it family friendly. Matt and I was not family friendly. I should put a warning on it.
So apologize for some language. It's bound to happen.
It's YouTube.
For the most part, family friendly, guys. So, just so everybody knows, a lot of where I get my inspiration from, trying to think of what to do, how I like to do it, is from, just looking up on the internet. Like, there's a few YouTube videos out there that explain different ideas very well. So you can either look up D&D ideas, or there's a game called Pathfinder, if you haven't heard of that. It's a little bit different, but pretty similar. You can just kind of transition into it. So why don't you tell them about our campaign, like how we've started out with what's going on so far, from what
Like,
you remember, and then I'll kind of take over it.
Like from the very, very beginning?
Yeah, very beginning, how we started out.
So at the very beginning, we there was 4 of us. No, 5.
5.
There's 5 of us, and we all had started in like a city above like the regular atmosphere. It's pretty much, think of it as like high class society, and the below is, you know, poverty. It's towns are not rich, they're not wealthy. And we found this out going to different towns, that like they asked us to do stuff, and we had somebody who was really really money hungry, and it's like the mayor couldn't give us anything, and it's like, and we're not used to having issues like that where, hey, we do something, we get paid. So they have like what they like, if you recall what the Romans did with the Colosseums, they had gladiators fighting, and that was how we started out, all 5 of us in a pit. And it was the first person, or the last person standing, really won. I can't remember. It was like prize based.
It wasn't to the death. It was
no, yeah.
Even like Olympic Games style, where
even though we did have a guy lose an eyeball,
I mean,
he's dead now. But so yeah. So what ended up happening is we fought. I should have won, but I was fighting a what was he? A dwarf? No.
Dwarf or gnome? Gnome, I think.
A gnome, and he ended up
gnome.
besting me by jumping, because I have a big, I play a dragonborn who is like 7'5", I think, and like well over 300 pounds. And there's, in the center, it was a place where you had to jump to little pillars. Well, if you play D&D or you play any other games, you know that the dice is either gonna love you or it's gonna really hate you. And I think for our group, a majority of the time, it really hates us.
Especially for a rogue. Anytime he tries to do anything cool, it always whacks him right in the face.
Yeah. So he ended up winning. I can't remember how he beat me, but it was between me and him. And he beat me. And then we had it was like a black mist come along. And pretty much that was the signal to the end of our Roman Colosseum days, and we ended up falling down to.
So a giant rod came down and essentially crumbled the whole world above. So this is an example of stuff I pull inspiration from. Pull it from history, games I like, and just ideas from other YouTube videos. So if you guys have played Zelda, you know, it's kind of like Skyward Sword. Zelda. You have the above world, and then you have the below world.
That's a good way to think. I didn't even.
Yeah, that's where it got from.
In my mind, what I was thinking about was like Greek mythology, like Zeus, and the other gods above, but we're not gods. We're the same species up top as below. But I think if I recall, it was something major happened below, and our ancestors, instead of staying and helping, fled up because they had, I think, the means to do it.
Yeah, there was a fear for the fall apart of the world below. Like, all these guys thought the world below was essentially gone, didn't exist type of thing. It's just like a giant post-apocalyptic wasteland.
And one thing I can't like stress enough, and I am like slowly getting better at it, play your part. It makes it so much fun. Like I won't go into detail fully about my character, because my character is very, what is it? Is it introverted? That is to themselves? Yeah. Very introverted about his past, because it's such a bad past, right? And but what happened is I am a blue dragonborn, and when we first started it, and hopefully you guys can get a DM who is generous as Matt has been, because trust me, he has helped our group in ways that a lot of people don't know, but we are such close friends that, you know, we talk about it outside of D&D. But the blue dragonborn is an electric dragon, where a white is like snow frost. Yeah.
There's like 8 different colors, 2 different types for each color. It gets kind of complicated.
And I didn't understand how they made like, I would have put the silver as lightning and the blue as a frost. Yeah. I didn't understand it, but Matt luckily said, hey, if you can come up with a way to explain it, I'll let you be a blue dragon with the frost breath. So what ended up happening is Dragonborns, they stick to their own kind. So like what that is like Dragonborns don't mate or flirt with any other species alive unless it's a Dragonborn and it's from the same clan. My parents, my mom was a blue and my dad was a white, and we played into it very well. They met. They made a beautiful baby Dragonborn who is a very rare ultra hybrid. But with what happened in the past, like they both were killed for this, and I was pretty much sold to slavery, and that's all that about that. But my character, from time to time, his dad is like a fig. It's like his Obi-Wan. He will pop up out of nowhere, especially like when we're in trouble. Yep. Like I'll be sitting there racking my brain, and next thing I know, and this is out of game context, Matt will write on a piece of paper saying, you know, what my dad says, hands it to me. I read it, fold it up, and nobody else sees it. And so in my head, I'm picturing, okay, imagine standing there, you know your dad's there, so you're not going to be freaked out. Imagine him going like, you moron, you pull this lever. So if your dad really said that to you, you're going to go, thanks, Dad, but why are you being such a dick?
Yeah, because you have to look at it like, right? So he, you know, died because of what he did. So he's like super disappointed in his son because he's not, you know, what he should have lived up to be. Mm-hmm. So, and it makes it great because the hardest thing, especially for new people to learn, is not to metagame. And metagaming is casual conversation like we're doing now. Like, say we're playing D&D and I go, hey, Dustin, you want me to tell you the answer to everything? Okay. And then he goes to play the game and all of a sudden his character knows the answer to everything. It's like, you don't know that, dude. I told you outside of game context. Which is hard to do. So kind of what I kind of came up with, which helps the group out a lot, you know, kind of helps the metagaming aspect is, I'll write stuff down if somebody figured out, you know, out something that, you know, maybe only they saw, maybe only they read, but nobody else read it, then I'll give it to that player. So for example, if, you know, kind of how Dustin explained, he has that father voice in his head, so I'll write something down, this is what he said, give it to him. So he can share that information, he can lie if he's sharing that information, and it's also kind of like, hey, I'm an elf, there's an elf word right here that says, pull this lever, get a bunch of treasure, pull this lever, die. He can go, okay, I know what that is. And then all of a sudden this, you know, a-hole guy comes along and goes, what do? He goes like, you got to pull this lever and I got to pull this lever at the exact same time. Is he lying? Sure. But, you know, maybe that guy betrayed him somehow. Maybe he's an evil little piece of crap, you know. So he just played to his part. So I would give him inspiration for that. And essentially what inspiration is, you can either do it as like hey, I'm going to take it, and if I have disadvantage, I'm going to turn that into just a regular roll instead of a disadvantage roll. Or I'm going to make that roll, I'm going to make it an advantage roll. And essentially what that is advantage is you roll a d20 twice, you get the higher number of the two. Disadvantage, you roll a d20 twice, you get the lower number of it. So.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because you'll have like a really good roll, and you're like, oh, I got to roll one more time. And then usually that second roll is very bad. Also, yeah, what was I gonna say? Try to, like, when you're playing to the role of your character, try to stick to like what the hell was it? 1 second, guys. Try to look into what alignments are. Mine is lawful evil, I think, or lawful good, I think. No, lawful evil. So the way I interpreted that is you're good, but you have tendencies to like do something bad. So my Dragonborn, I looked at what the blue dragons, like what their obsessions were, because you know dragons are treasure hoarders, and for a blue it's emeralds and blue sapphires. So let's say if Matt was in game and he was sleeping and he had like an emerald, I would fight with the fact of taking it, and I probably would, just because it's like a weakness, and I would take it. But on the flip side, if like I had to do something good that didn't involve that, I would take the good way majority of the time. You have people who like, I think my brother is.
I think it's chaotic evil.
Chaotic evil. So we had that plan, like Matt was telling you. I told him, and it was. I think it was the fact of it was a happy accident because I had told him what the plan was, but he wasn't listening, and I had explained it to Ed, the guy who was imprisoned, and they both said, "Okay, yeah, that sounds good." Well, my brother ended up turning him over because my original plan was. Clint's classic character in the town we were going to, you pretty much looked at him as like Richie Rich. They had their power, they had their respect, and me and Ed's characters were servants, slaves. I hate using the word, but that's what it is. So my idea was to put us in that like a servant role, and it came about of like shackling us up. And my character has issues with stuff like that. So I said, nope, I'm waiting outside. Next thing I know, and this is a metagame thing because I didn't know it. My brother was handcuffing Ed and turning him to the authorities. And I was like, out of game, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That wasn't the plan. He's like, oh, I thought it was. But I think he would have done it even if he knew.
Yeah.
Because he was playing to his character.
Yeah.
So.
And it's fun. It really is. I mean, it throws everybody off because you're like, what?
Yeah.
But
and you can't really be mad because that's what the game is about.
Yeah.
It's about you know, Dustin isn't playing it. I'm not even gonna say my name because I don't want to hear it in chat. It's my characters playing the game, but and it's definitely one of those things where. It sounds good in theory when you have like 5 to 10 people, but realistically, you want to keep it a smaller group. Especially because, and I'm not going to throw anybody under a bus on anything, because the way I see it is, it happened, and it's just when you get a lot of people together, there are some people who have louder voices, some people who are more monotone. So those monotone get drowned out really easy. But for example, we had finished doing a raid, and I said, I'm going to go check this body for loot. And somebody had kind of caught what I said. Matt didn't hear it because there's another guy who was at the same time. So you have conversations, you're smashing together, and this other person has a louder voice than I do. And she said it, and I was like, what?
Yep.
But that's how it works too. So,
and that's at the DM. You kind of let it happen, and you look at, well, how can I prevent it? And you do the best you can. It's kind of one of those. Do you take the gold and everybody in the party gets a little bit of it, equally? There's that route. You can do okay, everybody roll for initiative, and whoever's close, whoever gets the highest, they get to go first. Of what loot they get. Sometimes I've done, I'll give an item to every single person. I'll say, okay. You're first, pick a number 1 through 7. And then if you pick 7, that's the item you get.
I get luck out on those. I usually get the high rolls when we get loot divvied.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a checks and balances. And I know I DM a lot different because in the book it says you go off of experience when they level up. You fight this monster, this is your experience you get. And then when you hit this experience marker, that's when you level up. But as the DM... there's a lot of them that, especially the more experienced ones, they like to make their players struggle. Where, for example, going from level 1 to level 2, they will kill some players, in the process. It's like, oh, you didn't make it, you died, start all over. So reroll your old character. And your character rolling, especially when you go, you put a lot of detail in it, can take you 2 hours. It is ridiculous. It's fun to do, but it's like, oh my goodness, I have to do 2 hours of prep time just for my character? Holy cow, this is ridiculous. Because you're trying to look up what everything means, what everything is. Because you get backgrounds, flaws, what your character looks like, what they speak like, what are they going to be proficient in. It's a lot of information.
Even starting weapons.
Even starting weapons, yep.
Damage, you want to know which one you can handle, which one you can't handle.
Yep.
Which one's going to have a negative effect, a positive effect.
Yep, and then what are you weak against because you picked this? It gets pretty crazy.
Are we heading back to Red Badge anytime soon?
I can never remember if the Red Badge is in the north or the south, because there's a Red Badge in
South.
Is it? Okay.
Because I was wanting to go south, and
That's right. Because the
group
Black
was
Badge.
like, let's go.
And it's Vach, VACH clan. God, yeah. Watch what you name your stuff, because your players will just keep messing with you, which is pretty humorous at times. But it's like, son of a gun, how did I not think of that when I was naming these towns? Holy crap! But always just try to let your players do whatever they want to do. But the one common DM trick that you can do if you want your players to go somewhere is you go, hey, they're sleeping. I'm going to take one item of theirs. I'm going to take this little dagger that has no meaning, and they will go to the ends of the earth to get their dagger back. It's like, all right. And the best thing, and I'm sure Dustin will tell you, is it can be so fun as the DM where you put the most simplest solution in a puzzle. Because a lot of my D&D stuff is puzzle-based. I love escape rooms, so I just do a lot of puzzle-based. And you can think, oh my goodness, this is a really hard one. It's going to take them forever. And they'll crack it in 2 seconds. Like, that son of a gun.
Pure luck, yeah.
Pure luck. Or you'll do the most simple solution, and they will spend an hour beating their head against the wall trying to figure out what the heck they're supposed to do. It's like, holy crap.
I'm trying to think of how the DM is thinking. And it's like, that just doesn't work half the time, because you're thinking, oh, he'll do this. It's really not.
Yep.
It's like...
And then there's times you create a puzzle, and they beat the puzzle, but it's the exact opposite way you want them to beat. Like a couple weeks ago, they went downstairs, they found a toolbox, there's all these traps everywhere, and then in the room above, there was a ladder way up top that was broken off. So my original solution is, you're going to have to use that toolbox, destroy all this torture equipment, stack it up, build a ladder, and then you're good. What'd they do? They tied a hammer to a rope and, woo! Son of a gun! So, I mean, it was great, but I'm not going to be like, nope, didn't work, your fat butt, stepped on the rope and it broke, so now you have to figure out something else out. Because it's just not fun for anybody. Ooh.
And I'll get a helpful tip for somebody too. Like, I hadn't played D&D in such a long time, so I wanted a very simple, very, very easy character to start with, and it's actually a character I've actually grown really fond of, which is my Dragonborn. I did a Dragonborn Barbarian. You don't have to deal with spells. All you have to focus on is like your main front page. I would say that is the easiest if you want to use that to get back into it. And then like maybe your DM kills you off, then you can go into, you have this figured out. Now you can get back into spells.
And kind of one thing going more on that is, in my opinion, you can multi-class, right? So that means if your character has a reason why he's a rogue and maybe he wants to start learning, warlock stuff, maybe he saw school, went to that, you can do it. But for the most part, it's great at the beginning, but when everybody else starts hitting, level 10, level 15, level 20, which is max, they get the best of their abilities, and you'll never hit that because you just stopped your level from growing, so you get all the lower stuff of different classes, in my opinion. But, if you're going to do it, I would definitely look into it beforehand.
Mm-hmm. You just got to remember, too, that's going to be a lot more that you're going to have to remember up here.
Yep.
And write down, because, like I said, it's not fair for you to keep asking the DM every time you play about your character and damage that your character does. It's your character. You should be on top of it, not everybody else.
Yep. Because as the DM, I know the basis of all their characters, right? So if they do something and I think, oh wow, that's overpowered, I'll say, hey, Dustin, can you explain to me how your character got that? And if you can, I'll be like, okay, cool. If you can't, then I'll be like, okay, well, we'll use it now, but next time, don't use it. Because I'm not going to pause a game to look up, some time to see, like, oh, does this work? Because that's just, a waste of a resource when you could be doing something else instead.
But, so yeah, trying to get, sorry, we kind of went on a different tangent, but, So we did that, right? Just getting back to our plot, and so we did that. We fell down, and we had to run from a group that we call the Men in Black, which every time I hear it, I just hear the theme song in my head.
Yeah, they're actually the Shadows of Righteousness, but because they dress in black, everybody remembers them as Men in Black. It's like, all right.
So like we're pretty much going around, and we're trying to collect a key. Like there's like 5 different pieces to a key.
Yeah. So if you've seen the movie The Mummy, think of that key that opens the book, essentially.
So we have to go to all these different areas, try to collect the keys, and some of it is behind like magic warding. Mm-hmm. So you have to try to figure out how you're going to get these pieces, you know. So it's been an adventure. We even got to fight Santa and Krampus and Rudolph for the Christmas one. I think it's always fun. Like before Christmas came, before we started playing it, we were talking about, because I had watched an episode of The Big Bang Theory, and the guys did a Christmas D&D special. I said that'd be kind of cool and fun to do. That way you kind of keep it more festive. You keep it still kind of light, and if you have a really good DM, they can make it work too with what you're doing. And it did. It fit in perfect.
Yep.
And it wasn't fun like trying to round up the reindeer, but because they were evil reindeer, but we got it to work.
Yep, and this is kind of a perfect example going more on that one. So, essentially be careful with whatever you do. So, when these guys were in a tunnel, there was 8 trap holes. They didn't know what was in them. They walked by one, a spider came out. Walked by another one, the guy fell, dropped his sword. I asked him if he wanted to reach out and get it. He's like, well, I don't know. So then I'm like, Dustin, do you want to reach out and get his sword? Sure. So he walks over, and they go, no, I want my sword. Reach out and get it. Nothing happened, but just one of those fun things. You give them something, so they're like, what? Am I going to lose my arm? Which, somebody lost their hand at one point. Someone's character went from a female to a male.
Well, I mean, Ed's hands both turned into stone because of it.
Both got petrified.
Yeah. So it's always you're kind of thinking. Like, I wasn't thinking about checking, because like every game session that we have played, you would hear all the time from multiple people, I'm going to check for traps. I'm going to check for traps. And it was to the point, like, maybe once or twice it was, okay, yeah, there's a trap here. So, like, I wasn't ever thinking about checking for traps. And I went walking through a door last week, and it definitely should have checked for traps.
Yep. And it's kind of one of those things, and this is hard for a lot of people to understand because it's part of that metagaming thing. If you have a rogue and he checks for traps and he rolls badly and he says, I don't see any traps, that doesn't mean, okay, well, I'm going to check for traps. If he's constantly failing checking for traps, it's kind of one of those, okay, I understand why you're checking for traps. Not, I know he rolled bad, so I'm going to re-roll again. That's just kind of one of those things that's hard. I'm pretty lenient on what most people do because, you know, I want everybody to have fun. But also, D&D, you know, like Dustin's saying, play to your character, play to what he's going to do. When I'm the DM, I try to always remember to call each character by their name. Like, I'll be like, our guy, Ed, his name is Akmenos. So I'll be like, Akmenos, it's your turn, what do you want to do? Or our buddy Clint, his name is Calarian. I can never remember that, so I just call him Cal. Everyone calls him Cal. So just really try to, you know, do the role-playing well. You know, say Dustin does the last finishing kill. Say, okay, you killed him. How do you want to do it? You know,
chop his head off.
You guys doing it. Because I shouldn't be like, okay, you jump up on 2 feet and you stab him right in the neck. I'm not the one doing it. He's the one doing it. So just always try to do that role-playing mentality. And sometimes, you know, you're all BSing around. Sometimes you get off subject. If it happens too much, what I usually do is, usually a bad event will happen to the players. For example, these guys were on this board game with lightning traps everywhere, and then 2 of the guys just started talking back and forth and weren't doing anything, while 2 of the other ones are trying to figure it out. So I said, oh man, you just got rolled for 8 damage, and then it just shocked right over, went straight through you to him for 6 damage. And he's like, what? Why? I don't know. Why'd you do that?
Just how it happened.
Yeah. So you can bet he was paying attention. It's like, you weren't paying attention. Something bad just happened. Because, I mean, it's fun. Usually our sessions last a couple hours. It's definitely ongoing, definitely worth it. And it's a fun game, but just kind of hang out with your close buddies also makes it a lot of fun, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like one of those things like we get to it, right? And then it's over. Then you have to go, I got to wait till next week to figure out what's going to happen. It's like you want it to be more than once a week, but I think if you were to do it more than once a week, it would die out really quickly.
It would.
It's like you don't want to oversaturate it.
Yeah. In the prep time for the DM, it's a lot of work trying to figure out what they're going to do. So, like I said, if you're doing it before, I would draw out your whole map, have all the places, have the main quest, have kind of like a chart of, when these players are at this point, I want at least this to happen or something to happen. Because level 1 through 20, that's a long time to go over and time to fill. And I would recommend, and this is what I plan on doing, when your players hit level 20, don't end it like 2 sessions later. Let them have the power of level 20, do all this awesome stuff. Not,
that would suck.
I'm level 20, we did this one thing, we beat it, okay, we're done. I mean, how horrible is that?
That would be like canceling Game of Thrones right before this last season.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the dragons came to play. But you don't get to see what happens.
Yeah. Or if you want to do something fun, one thing I read that this guy did is it was an experienced DM. He went with an experienced group and he said, you guys are all level 20. You have 20 days to beat this. And each day they played, they went from level 20 to level 19. And if they didn't beat the mission by level 1, because after level 1 there's 0, they died. And he said it was a lot more fun watching players, ooh, I get to pick my abilities, I'm excited to, oh my goodness, I have to lose abilities, what ones do I want to give up?
That would suck.
Yeah. But kind of cool idea, but I would only recommend that route with an experienced group because, oh my goodness, it is a lot of information.
Yeah, because our group started out a lot of inexperience. Like we had, like half were experienced, half were inexperienced, and then it's kind of right now it's dwindled down. We had a guy who had moved to LA, which, if you watch us, Jacob, thumbs up. We miss you in D&D, buddy. But he was, I think, the most experienced.
Yeah.
And we had 2 that just kind of stuff happened and they're trickled out. One might be coming back, one might not. We don't know. So you had,
and I only done it maybe for a month with somebody else. That group kind of fell apart. So I said, I want to do this. Didn't really have a DM, so I took on the load. I read through both the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master. Read every single page of that. Looked through the Monster Manual, which Monster Manual is helpful if you're trying to figure out what bad guys to do, because you can look up a monster, look at the background, and go, okay, if say he's a water monster, okay, now all I have to do is do something in the water, or a monster lives in the swampy area. Well, if these guys get to a swamp, I can use this guy, so it kind of all fits together.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm still waiting for Ricky to make that song, man. Come on, Ricky! And don't forget, guys, if you have any questions, type it in. We'll answer it to the best of our knowledge. Real quick, too, if you enjoy D&D and you enjoy the stream, hit the thumbs up for me. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Usually after I do a live stream, it'll take about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour for it to repost on my page. And I'll leave anything like my Facebook page or just anything I think you guys need to know in the description. So make sure you always check that.
And if you guys want to comment later, we can definitely go over this a little bit more of different questions you might have, new groups, experienced groups. I think kind of what the plan is maybe every Friday or every other Friday, don't quote me on it. We'll probably try to do like, hey, this is a trap idea, just kind of short video clips to upload. That way you guys can, if your DMs or kind of want to see something fun, maybe get new ideas from, that's kind of how you can do it type of thing.
Heck yeah. I'm trying to think.
So, sir, what was your favorite trap or encounter or escape thing you had to do?
The favorite one? I'm trying to
Or a
think.
couple memorable ones, I should say.
I definitely like the. I'm trying to remember which one. Because I'm trying to remember how it went. It was the one we were in, I think, the mansion, and it had the stones and it had the gloves with it. That Clint had picked up the gloves.
Oh, the skulls. Is that one?
No, it was gloves.
No, but all the skeletons that were sitting at the table and they picked up the gloves.
Yeah. That one was fun. I liked that one.
Yeah, so essentially what that one was, guys, is a giant mansion, and what I made them do is, and they figured it out, and kind of at the end, they kind of got a hold of it, is they had to gather up all these skulls that were in different rooms, because when they go to the dining room, there's all these skeletons sitting there, and only one of them had its head. So they had to find the skulls, they had to clean the skulls, and then they had to put them right back, and that unlocked the door for them to go. And what made it even better was one of the guys they killed, which was the doppelganger. They actually had to use his skull as one of the skulls too.
That was fun, just because our little guy went into a closet and he essentially got beaten up and hogtied, and the guy came out and because like the way I put it to the group is imagine, because my guy is, like I said, like 7'5", his guy is a little bitty guy, so I always envisioned it as like
Groot and Raccoon, or Rocket, right?
Not Groot, but Batista's character.
Oh yeah. Gosh, what's his name?
I can't remember his name. I'm not a Marvel guy. You guys know this. It was Rocket, and it's from Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my God, what is his character's name?
Anyways.
But yeah, because the guy is like, he's not like 7 feet tall, but he's just big and hulking, and that's kind of what my guy is. And and Jacob's character was the little short guy. So I remember seeing a scene in the movie where you see the two just sitting there, and it's like they're little buddies, And I always kind of pictured it like that, where I would protect him out of the group more than anybody else. So Drax, thank you. So he ended up real life moving to LA because it's a better opportunity for him and what he went to school for, which is awesome. I definitely miss him in the group, but he was kind of like that, like a little brother to my character in the game. So just imagine what you do for your little brother. You always protect them, make sure they're okay. I always bring them with you. Like if he like missed a session, I would always make sure to put him in like my knapsack. So.
In kind of the same way, like if Dustin missed a session, he'd always, try to pick up something. Oh, it's like, oh, dude, this guy's gonna like this. Or, if he was down, he'd always, go for the healing. He would do it for everybody, but some of the players are evil and aren't exactly as kind or generous to him. Like there was one session we did, and for you guys playing, not every bad guy has to be killed. Just remember that. For example, in this session, they went into this cave, went all the way down, and there was a giant dragon. I think you guys were only like level 4.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, you can't kill the giant dragon.
No.
I toned his weapons down because, as a DM, you got to be ready to kind of prepare on the spot. I didn't have to. I could have wiped the whole party if I wanted to. Then they would have to really start over, which isn't exactly fun. But our buddy Jacob, he walks over to try to do one thing because they're trying to figure out how to escape from this giant dragon, and he just got pimp slapped right through a wall, and they found a way out. And as he was knocked out, Dustin over here comes in, grabs him as he's treading water, and they go right down the stream, down a waterfall. And some DMs do it differently. If you die and have to start over, some of you will make you start over from level 1 and go all the way up. I like to just do an even share of experience. If I feel like they've done enough or progressed that far in the story, I'll level everybody up. If someone dies and kills off their character, I'll tell them, you can't have your weapons or any items your previous character had, unless, there's some, certain items like, hey, this is a main point to the thing. So, yeah.
Like it'll get passed off to somebody, right?
Yeah, or get passed off to somebody. And then I'll tell them that you have to re-roll all your stats, but I'll let them start out at, level 9 if everybody's level 9, for example.
Oh, key important thing on that, too. If you start out your thing, make sure you roll with a witness.
Yes.
You could be the most trustworthy person in the world. But if you're, like, seriously, like, by yourself and your stats are, like, really good, people are going to go, did you really roll it?
Yeah.
Did you... Or, even if it's, like, an okay one, you're going to go, did you, like... Did you get like a 3 and you went, that didn't count, roll again? It's just better for everybody if you roll with somebody who can verify that's exactly what he got, one roll.
And the best person's the DM. Just roll with the DM there. Get everything ready, and the next time you have a session, just, hey, I'm going to do a quick roll really quick. You might show up 10 minutes early. No big deal.
Make sure you update your character sheets on your own time.
Yes.
If you do it like how we do, there's a week in between. That's a solid 7 days in between. That's plenty of time for, even if you're working 2 jobs, that's enough time for you to take maybe like half an hour. Even if you have to do more, take half an hour one day, half an hour another day. Get it all figured out, because there's nothing, I'm not going to say agitating, but nothing more like, it's like going to school, having your homework done. You got to wait for everybody else. You want to learn, but because people didn't do their homework, you have to wait. And it's like, it's punishing your group and your DM, who your DM had obviously he did all his homework in between. Your other group members put their work in. It's not fair for them to have to wait on you because you just didn't do it. Yep. There's plenty of tools out there.
Yeah, because as the DM, I have homework every week, usually a couple hours. Your character-wise, you maybe will have homework once a week out of the month. The beginning, because you'll level up quicker, you'll have a little bit more, but once you do it a couple times, you're pretty much golden. Mm-hmm. And as a DM, always try to be there to help answer your character's questions, Say, hey, if you have a question, just text me if you're confused about something. Because even if it's not the right way, if you're okay with the DM because you are the rule maker, just say, hey, that works.
I was going to say, too, also, I had a scroll where I could write down and get any item I wanted to. Don't look at a couple things and go, oh, this is really pretty, I'm going to take that. I actually looked through a list of things, and I found a Frostbrand greatsword, and it's a 2-handed sword, so it's like my main weapon, but it does, I think it's 2d6 for regular damage, and it does an additional d6 in frost damage. Yep. If I just would have went with a greatsword, it would have, and if I hit a critical, I think I end up rolling like 6 d6s.
Yeah, it's like insane.
And if it was to regular greatsword, it would have been like 3 or 4.
Yep.
So always look it up. Even if you have to write it down, that's what I did. I went and I looked at everything, and anything that stood out, I wrote it down. I compared it, and Matt could tell you I didn't use it right away. Yep. I waited for a while because I wanted to get the best possible item I could get.
And going more on that, for all of you guys thinking, well, why don't you just wish for all the powers in the world? I gave him limitations, and I said, if you ask for something too ridiculous, I will have that sword drop down right on you, and you will die and never be able to use it. Yep. So, for you guys thinking, well, why don't you do this? That's why.
Along with that, also make sure you know what not every, but like if your DM said there's a sword of, I can't remember what that sword was, but it was a cursed sword. I didn't know that it was cursed at the time.
Sword of Vengeance.
But it was with the dragon part. I had saw it and I was running for it, and another guy kind of cut in front of me and took it, and he found out it was a cursed sword. And I think that's part of the reason why he killed his character off, is because he couldn't get rid of it unless he had...
He had to meet this one guy in this giant city where he didn't know where the giant city was at. And
and it was just...
It cracked me up, and I think it cracked everybody else up. Because as a DM, I try to do items fair. Like, if they're in a giant pit, and there's 4 of them, I'll say, you have an item here, an item here, an item here, and an item here. You can't really tell what they are, or if they're like, well, what's this one? Oh, well, you kind of see it's like a shiny, sharp thing, maybe possibly a sword. Depending on how well they roll.
Well, and too, like, I'd say, as just a person in a group, if you are prone to using, like, let's say a battle axe or a great axe, or you favor the great swords, so like, let's say, because I've used a great sword the whole time, yeah. So if I see like a specialized like great axe, I'm not gonna go jack it from somebody because I can either sell it, because I wouldn't use it. I would note anybody who uses an axe and either give it to them or say, dude, go get it. Because that's kind of, you're a team, so you want everybody to be at the best they can get.
And just remember, if say he does take that great axe, that guy in the middle of the night can go, hey DM, I'm gonna roll without him looking, and I'm gonna try to steal it from him. He can steal it, and then you have more chaos in the group, which is fine, but it's probably gonna wind up with someone dead, and they're gonna have to reroll a character, and then they're gonna be okay. Or if they're not, then somebody else is gonna die.
And two, like if that happened when I was gone, like because we've done this before, where if somebody steals something from you, you have to, when that person returns, roll to see if you can deceive that person. And if you don't deceive them, then it's, like I said, more chaotic, and it's just...
Yeah, because there was a couple of things, like one guy wanted to steal this person's cloak. He rolled high enough, he got it. I was like, oh man. But if she asks you when she returns, who stole my cloak? And you say no, I'm going to make you roll, not then, but I would do it prior, and I would note it, and when he goes, I didn't steal it, I would say, you believe everybody, but this guy seems a little bit like he's not telling the truth all the way, like maybe he knows who did it or something. So then she could be like, oh, and then question him further. Or he rolls a 1, no, I didn't steal it, but he's wearing the cloak because he rolled so low. So she's like, obviously he's lying.
Like we had a situation like that where we're not going to throw anybody under the bus on anything, just because it's one of those things where it's a game. The main goal for the game is to have fun, enjoy the people you're with.
And it's an ongoing learning experience. I mean, as a DM, I don't know every single thing. There are some things I'll be like, okay, we'll do it this way. I'll look it up, after we're done, and then next week when we reconvene, I'll tell everybody what the rule is or how we're going to go forward.
Mm-hmm. So,
sorry.
No, you're all good. We had somebody who we were doing, I think it was like a cavern, and it was like a joint team to solve. We all actually figured out a piece of the puzzle, and 2 of the people were in a room by themselves that had all the treasure. They took it, didn't tell anybody, but like metagaming said, oh, we're going to hold on to it and we'll divvy it up how we want to. That's not, So I initially stole the money when that person was gone. And Matt was telling me, okay, but you got to roll. So she asks you. And I think I ended up replacing it out of my own pocket.
You did, yeah.
So that way everybody can have gold. But, I'd lose out. Because my character, a Dragonborn Barbarian, is probably one of the poorest ones you start out money-wise. Is one of the poorest ones you can start out with.
Monk might be lower, but it's...
So my character, I keep that in mind. I keep in mind of where we came from, everything I've been through. And so for me, money is like, I hoard it. That's my ancestral background. But I also like it because you realize when you have the money, you could buy anything you want. So I think like I'm almost like 1,000 gold just from loots and just working. So because I don't really buy a lot.
Yep.
Also, make sure when you do go to towns, stock up on med supplies.
Yeah, kind of figure out what you need, who's in your group. For example, at the beginning, these guys would go to town all the time, and nobody would ever buy an antidote. So what do? I make it so most of their monsters they face, they get poisoned. And when you're poisoned, you get negative on your attack rolls, and you can't be healed until that poison's gone. So they're like, oh my god. And then after, I think, day 2 or 3, Jacob goes, oh my god, you guys, we have to buy antidote. This is ridiculous.
Because he was the only one curing, and he can only do it once per long rest.
You only have so many spells.
So, and what like once per long rest is like, let's say my Dragonborn has, for his breath, I can use it twice in battle, and that's like if I use it twice, even if I get in another battle, it's depleted. Yep. So I have to take with the Dragon Breath, it's long or short rest. Short rest is 4 hours in game, and long rest is 8 hours in game. You're obviously not going to wait 4 or 8 hours,
and that's uninterrupted hours. So if they're sleeping and they get ambushed and wake up, they don't get it back.
Usually Matt's pretty good about saying, okay, it'll be uninterrupted.
Yeah.
I know it's probably going to come up soon where it's going to happen.
Yep.
But as long as I get 4 hours, I'm good.
Yeah, because the way I'm doing it is, I'm pretty easy. I kind of held back on guys because, and this is part of, again, about the, always be prepared to change it up. So in the very first mission, or second mission they had when they were down below, they ran across these bandits. I put 6 bandits in there. They all rolled phenomenally, killed those bandits. I'm thinking, oh my god, they're going to have one leader bandit come, and they're just going to wipe them out, and it's going to be over in 10 minutes. So I added just 2 more. They were rolling horribly after that, and those 3 bandits almost wiped out that whole party because they were doing so horrible on rolls. For example, a girl fires an arrow that was on fire because she decided to light with a torch, which is great. She rolled a 1. She lit the whole grass field on fire, so they couldn't do anything. The smoke was in the air, so then they had to roll even worse.
I got burned on it, because it was like, it laid out like, boom, like this, right? And it took up, I can't remember how many squares.
Yeah.
But I was in, I think, like the last tile, and it's like, and I rolled horribly, so I didn't get out of the way of it. And it's like, really? Also, too, when you're buying med supplies, like Matt was saying, remember who's in your group. I recently had bought like 7 medium med packs. And in my brain, I did that not only for myself and to keep them, but I know that who takes more damage in these skirmishes. So like last week, I was hung upside down. My brother was rolling really good.
Yeah.
He went to get the rope to get me down. Horrible. I think he got a 1 on it. Hurt himself. So as soon as I got down, I tossed my med pack for helping me. It healed him right up. Always try to make sure you have enough for yourself, but also for other people, because it doesn't take a turn to use a med pack or does it?
It does.
So even if it takes an action, we're at the point now where all of us get 2 actions, so you could heal yourself and still attack or move.
Yep.
You don't want to go into it. You're the only one with med packs. You're not sharing. It's like playing, Killing Floor 2, where you have a medic who only heals himself.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be outnumbered. Everybody else is going to be dead, and there goes your party, and there goes your game. You got to start over from scratch.
Yep. But then it's also the same point where you have a medic, but everyone knows who the medic is, so I'm that a-hole DM that decides to go straight for the medic because he's healing everybody. Now you just lost your medic, and nobody has anything.
Yeah. Oh.
So just try to help everybody out, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah. And remember the fact of, like, if me and Matt are playing, we're in a group, right? I help him out, and not because he asked. I just say, here, dude, here's 2 med packs. Yep. Heal up. In the future, he might, remember that, oh, he likes emeralds or sapphires. It's his real, it's his kink.
Yeah.
So if we raid something, he could just go, hey, look. Here's an emerald, just out of the blue, because I helped him when, maybe he was going to die. And in the same turn, if somebody helps you without you asking for it, remember that. Repay them, because it's something everybody's going to remember. And the DM will remember if you are just taking, or if you're, giving, taking,
Yeah. And kind of your example, the person that, kind of wanted to be the one in charge of all the money, she left, so her character got killed off, and I took all that gold away with them. No one got that gold. And everyone's like, well, what are we supposed to do? It's like, should have taken the gold. Sorry.
Yeah. It was my precious. But, I felt to the point where my character, like I said, is a lawful evil. So taking, if it had been like a ruby or an emerald or whatever, I would have done it without hesitation. But seeing as how it wasn't a big fascination for my character,
Yep.
I felt compelled to pay it back because I didn't want to deceive and lie, and I, B, didn't want to have like inner turmoil.
Yep.
And that's, I think, playing to that character really pretty decent.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm in the game because I'm the DM, but if you watch like some of our gaming videos, like we are pretty compatible when we play, and a lot of times, like, Friday the 13th or the Killing Floor, I'll be like, "Hey, dude, I've already escaped. I'm going to take a hit for the team just so you can get out because he's going to kill one of us." Most of the time, I mean, sometimes we got pretty lucky where we escaped it, but.
So is it normal for Dow rogues to be tied up and gagged every time they are trying to point things out to their party? Who was...
He's the Dro.
Was he... Did you have him tied up and gagged when he was trying to point stuff out?
No, it seems like it.
Huh? Like what do you mean, Clint? Because was it happened when I wasn't there?
I can't remember. He's been tied up a few times.
Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna get by. It's getting a little dark now. I didn't realize it.
You want to turn on what?
Yeah. I gotta message a fit with the switch real quick. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Oh no, I don't. I thought I had the fan on. But because there's times where I miss because
We have stuff going on.
And I think anybody who watches my channel knows that I am not exactly the healthiest. I have like serious medical issue, and I was sick all of October and all of November, like where I really didn't eat for 2 months, and I couldn't make it, which was a bummer. Because if you're doing it right and you're playing with a group that you really get along with, yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to get frustrated with somebody in the group. But for the most part, if you enjoy it, you're going to be like how we are every week going, God, is it Friday yet? I want to play. And so I missed 2 months. We came back and played for a couple weeks when I was healthy again. And then we took like a month off because there was just
stuff came up with everybody.
Yeah, stuff was coming up, and so now we're back at it, and it's like, man, I'm enjoying. Like I said, I wish we could do it like every day, but that's unrealistic, and I wouldn't want it. I mean, it's like when you get a video game you've been waiting for so long, you play it non-stop for a week, like Red Dead 2. I didn't even finish it, and I haven't even wanted to pick it up because I oversaturated myself with it. Yeah. And it, I think it was going on a different tangent. Yeah. It was like one of those. We had been waiting for so long for this game, and it finally came out, and I'm like, and in my mind before I really actually processed it, I'm sitting there going, this is going to be the best game in the world of the year. And when you go back and you think about it, I think it was more of a letdown than what it, especially because of all the pushbacks it had, and
great game, but it wasn't as good as the first one, like a lot of us thought it was going to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's how this can be. You could go, man, this is really good. I want it. You somehow convince everybody to clear their schedules, and you play it 4 days a week, and then by the time you get to that, that like month point, you're going to be going, man, this isn't as great as I thought it was. It's a lot more work and a lot more, yada yada yada. So I think the way we have it set up, do it at a time that is going to be feasible for everybody. We understand that everybody has their own individual life outside of D&D. Matt works 2 jobs. Yeah. He took Friday nights off from both jobs so he could DM this. My brother is a single father who his work schedule literally, since I can remember where he's worked at, which is like 10 plus years, he's had Monday and Tuesdays off. They've switched up from time to time, but Mondays and Tuesdays off. So Fridays wasn't always feasible for him, but he has his daughter Saturday nights and Sunday nights. So the best time we could fit it in for him and everybody else was on Friday. Me, for example, I have dialysis on Friday, and for people who don't know what that is, it's extremely taxing on your system.
You like working 14 hours a day.
Yeah, and it's more often than not they pull like excessive amounts of fluid out of your system, and so imagine you do that early in the morning, so you're tired, you're worn out from that, and then a lot of people I know that go through it, they get migraines, and I get migraines bad after that, so I have to take something to help compensate for that. So by the time it gets to 8 o'clock at night, my brain's already just shot from the day. Especially now that I'm back here doing this with you guys, I'm putting in work every day. But it's like such a rush to go play it. Like there are times like last week, I was like, man, maybe I should just text Matt and say, I don't feel like coming today. And I go, okay, I'll go. And if I have to go early, I will. They'll understand. And you get into it, man, and it's like, it's already like 10:30 at night. What the hell? So we like, Matt understands. I understand. Clint understands. Ed understands that everybody has stuff going on. Plans come up, but try to be respectful for that. Don't like last minute say, "Oh, I have plans. I won't make it. Can we do this another night?" Try to let people know as soon as you can. Obviously, Matt gets called in, and it's like one of those you have to or you're fired. Same with my brother or Ed or anybody else. We're all going to say, okay. If I can't make it because I'm just absolutely... Because there have been times where I cannot get out of bed. And they will play without me, and that's perfectly fine. I think D&D teaches you not only... It teaches you how to use here a lot more, because especially when you're like... Because you're 26, 27?
I'm
28. Damn.
I know.
I'm 34. So we're at our ages in life where life is supposed to be all about work and being an adult. But I think we grew up when it started getting fun to be a kid, teenager, then getting into the adult, because we're the video game era. And it helps you keep I think it helps keep you young up here.
It does.
And I think everybody should have a D&D group, to be perfectly honest, because it helps keep your brain creative.
Yeah.
You have to fantasize. You have to use your brain.
And you're going to do something that you mess up, especially me. So, few major things that I feel like I messed up on was, at the beginning, and this was something we all did, is try to roleplay to the best of your ability, because you want your character to speak, say what he's going to do, really roleplay it out, try to be descriptive. I need to work on my descriptiveness because I'm not that great at it. I feel like I've gotten better. And another few things is like, each time we did something, I was always trying to give everybody, this cool item. Don't do that, because if you do that, and by 4 weeks in, you just give out all this cool stuff, now you have to think of something extra, it's like, oh my god. So don't do that. Split it up, spread it out. Give key items here and there, but don't give something every single week. Always try to have a high moment of the night, but you don't need to give something and reward somebody every single night. No. It's just gonna give you a huge letdown in the future. That was my bad. And then the other thing I did, which good and bad, I was really easy on these guys especially at the beginning, because we were all learning, and I wasn't going to kill any of them. Sometimes they thought I was, but never happened. But then, this last week I said, okay, you guys are high enough level. I'm not holding back anything now. You could die. If you die, you have to reroll your character, or if you want to get them back, I'll let you, but you're dropping 3 skill points. And as Dustin will tell you, skill points are a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And say you die twice, you just lost 6 skill points that you're not getting back unless you acquire from some other means.
Yeah, I'd say if you die once, you take the 3 hit.
Yep.
You could still roll with it, but if you take that the 6 points, you just start over.
Yep.
Because it's just you don't get skill points on a regular basis. It's when you level up, and it's not like every time you level up.
I think it's like every 4 levels or something.
Yeah, 3 or 4 levels, and you're substituting a feat for getting those points back.
Yeah.
So it's not, when you get to 6 and you have to do that, it's not worth it.
And to put it into a better perspective for you, your skills can be, level 1 through 20. If it's level 20, you get an additional +5. If it's level 1, you get a -5. So, for example, you roll a d20 in strength. You have 20 strength. Say you roll a 15. You get to add 5 to that, so you're at 20. And you can pretty much do most things with that. And now say you're at 1 because you lost some of these skill points. You roll a d20, you have 15. Well, you just lost 5 points, so now you only have 10. And that's kind of iffy.
And so what he's meaning by that whole part with the rolling, when you roll on an attack, you have to beat the person's AC.
Yeah.
So let's say, like, average AC will probably be about 12.
Which is armor class is what that is, for you guys that don't know.
So it's an average 12. So right off the bat, you have to roll above a 12. So let's say you get 12 on the dot, and you have -1 on your strength or whatever it is that you're using. Drops you down to 11, you fail. That's a turn for you. Whereas you get like a 10, you get +5, that's 15, boom.
Yep.
So you want to have the positive, not the negatives.
And when you're doing the D&D stuff, and this is something I kind of, struggled with, and just, listening to other DMs kind of talk about it. These guys are experienced fighters. If they roll a 1, don't be like, I threw my bow on the ground to attack him. Do something like, maybe he used his might, pulled back the bowstring, and his bow snapped. Or, as he was doing it, a guy threw a rock at him, hit him in the head, so it caused the, do something, because these guys aren't dumb. Well, sometimes they do dumb things. But,
or like how example from our group, you have like 3 people attacking one guy. You got somebody standing back firing a bow. They roll a 1,
yep.
And you just look at everybody in the group, and they're like, "Oh God, who's it gonna hit?" Because it's not. Sometimes he'll say, "Ooh, the arrow falls off, goes through your foot," or it'll be to the point where if somebody's like rolling bad consistently, they're gonna go, "Okay, well, here's an incentive for you to try to do better. Clint, you're gonna take roll 20 damage." Yep. So you're gonna be like. You're probably going to have everybody in your group say, don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Because essentially, if a monster's behind something, their AC goes up. If they're in full coverage, I think it's like +3. So that, level 12 monster just got a 15 AC. And if they're rolling under it, it's like, well, you're not hitting them, but you could very well be hitting one of these other people that you're shooting right into. So just kind of remember that aspect.
Yeah, just be aware of the surroundings. Make sure you know what damage, like areas... is effective. Like mine, we upgraded the breath to as like a more of like a straight shot. Yeah. So I want to make sure that nobody is in that blast zone on either side of it for like 5 feet. So in each tile next to it, because it has a potential for hurting them. And with that, it's like they have to roll a 15 or better. If they fail, it's
they're frozen and they take like some damage.
Like 2d6, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And then don't they have to roll to like...
They have to roll for strength to break out of it.
Yeah. And if they don't break out of it, don't they take damage their next turn?
They take damage and they're still stuck there.
So like, what could really suck is I do that, right? Let's say 3 of my party members fail it. They're frozen. They're taking damage. The guy I initially wanted to hit blocks it. He's perfectly fine. So I don't like. I will always say, "Hey, I wonder if they're in," and like I'll look at Matt and go, "Are they in the zone?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'll be like, because there's times where I think you've seen me once, like where I was getting ready to line it up, and somebody just goes yoink, and I'm like,
"Yep."
No, I was gonna freeze them. But also like, I'm trying to
communicate too, because there's a couple times where these guys have say, Dustin just nailed this guy. They realize these guys don't have a lot of health because they've beaten some of them. Then someone's going to go, I'm going to attack that same guy. It's like, well, he probably only has like 1 health left. Do you really want to do this full-blown, your super powerful weapon on him just to kill him? It's like, we just want you to go, you can hit him with a sword.
And that's all, like, yeah, our group was horrendous at doing that at the beginning. I think we're getting a lot better now.
I think you are too, yeah.
Because, like, last week, we were taking on a group of orgs with the King org. And we got it worked out where instead of we all just rush in the same way, just start attacking the same person, we actually landed up where we had Group A covering this side, Group B covering this side, C over here. And we killed them. There was a couple coming up at us. I think there was one left, and there's the King org. And there was 2 guys on here I noticed. So I'm like, and he was like, I think one hit point left. I'm like, if those 2 guys don't have it, then we're screwed for this guy. So I'm going to go kind of investigate where the King org's at, make sure there's no traps, get everything set up for that. So, I mean, definitely it's communication. Like, the thing with that too is make sure that you're not metagaming. Like, if your guy is like 100 feet away from your group, you're not just going to look at them and go, okay, guys, he's sleeping in here. You're going to have to realistically think about it. You're going to be yelling it, most likely wake up the guy.
Yep.
So, you know, take the time, go back here closer, say, all right, guys, here's the plan, that's what we're doing, and go back.
And always try to think ahead of everything. Like, we had this one where I was laughing my butt off, and these guys didn't think it was very funny. They were in this town, in this tower, they were trying to get out. The one guy, you know, Dustin had wings because he's a Dragonborn. He took his little buddy, Jacob, miss you, hope you're having fun, Callie, and they glided down. And these other guys were going to, you know, kind of go down and go out through the gate because they saw there's 2 guards on the outside. What they didn't think about is, what if this gate is locked? And it was locked. So now they're talking back and forth, being like, well, we can just jump off the tower. It's like, do you know how far that hit is? Because in D&D terms, 10 feet of damage is 1d6, and it was about a 100-foot drop. So they would have taken that many D6s, and they weren't that high of level, and especially Clint, because he's a rogue, so he's a little bit lower life than everybody. He attacks high damage, which is insane sometimes. But I roll 10 D6s, say most of those are higher up. My goodness, he's probably taking about 30 to 60 damage easily, and that's about his whole life.
Yeah, he's lucky because he gets that. Yeah, the half.
The half.
Which I don't. Is that a perk that he has?
It's a perk he has, yeah.
So if you're doing that character, that's another thing. Look at perks. Look at feats. Play to what's going to be best for your character. Right off the bat, the first time we had feats, dude, I wanted to get wings because I figured, I could fly anywhere, do anything. I didn't realize it had a glide effect, and it was only for 30 feet. Yep. And it increases with your movement speed. So now I'm at 40, I can glide 40 feet. But if I would have done that instead of the one I did, which I think was at that time
You picked luck, right?
Yeah. Which was the luck, there is a whole bunch of times I would have been screwed over.
Yep. Which, you guys, luck is the one feat I would recommend you get first off.
Yep, I would too.
Essentially what it is per long rest, if you roll badly, as long as you don't know what the outcome is, you can say luck and re-roll that d20. You roll a 1, you go luck. But if you wait and the DM says you fail, I'm a little bit lenient with it because I just say, okay, you can have it. But I'm probably going to start getting more strict now because they've played it long enough, they know how it is. Where, hey, you roll a 1, if you don't say luck right away and I see you roll a 1, you don't get to re-roll that. You got to take what happened because I just said, you failed.
Even if you say you roll a 1 and you say luck and re-roll it and you get like a 3, it's much better to take that 3 than a 1.
Yes.
Because a 1, damage is happening to you or somebody else. 3, you miss. Which is a lot better than like chopping somebody's arm off in your party.
Yep.
And the luck, you get 3 per long rest.
Yep.
So it's definitely worth it. Like, I wouldn't suggest like you roll bad luck. Don't use it all at once. It's meant and designed to do like for a whole fight scenario. Because usually in a night of campaign, we do like travel. We'll have a fight, not always a fight, but sometimes a fight, and then we'll have a puzzle, and then afterwards we'll long rest, so we go into the next campaign rested, but then so spread it out because especially if your DM gives you like multiple puzzles, and you blow all of your lucks on just the one, then whatever happens it's on you.
Yep. And in that sense too, also, if you only have like 2 hour sessions and, before a long rest, especially if hey, we have a big fight coming up and that fight's happening, don't be afraid to use it because you don't want to go the whole night, a long rest, and you didn't use any of your luck points because then it's just a little bit wasted.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get it first at the very beginning, you have all that time to use it because I think it's every 3 or 4 levels you get to pick another feat, and if you don't pick that luck feat first, boom, it just got pushed back. And also kind of how Dustin's saying is look at your character, what you can do before you pick your stuff. That means, like, for example, certain races have certain abilities. Like, for example, the Barbarian, or Dragonborn, I'm sorry, is really good with strength, and, the Barbarian uses strength. So that's kind of a good thing to, pair it up with. Where the Elf is really fast. You wouldn't want a, Elf, because he's really dexterous, to be a Barbarian because he lacks strength. That would just kind of be a bad mix-up, And then also, don't look right then. Look in the future of what they can do, because there's certain paths you need and certain feats that say, oh, you need this path to do it. And there's some pretty cool things you can do later down the road. Might take you a little couple levels to get there, but it's pretty sweet.
Also with that too, like look at like what your advantages are down the road too, because like with a Dragonborn Barbarian, like a say probably because I haven't even hit it yet. No armor for me increases my stats greatly.
Yep.
Like if I wanted to look cool and have a bunch of armor on, I wouldn't be doing the damage I'm doing.
Yep.
I think it's like when I get closer to 20 is when I start wearing the big armor, and it actually helps my stats.
Yep.
So it just makes sure you know your character. Yeah, because I think we're level 10.
9.
Oh, 9, that's right.
9 still, yep. And we've been doing this for a few months, about once a week.
Mm-hmm. And so I think what we're going to end up doing with I guess, what are we going to call it? D&D talk or Q&A or whatever. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it, I don't know. Because right now our scheduling is up in the air because we have somebody who wants to do it 1 week, take a week off, do it a week, take a week off. So we're still trying to figure out the scheduling on that. So if we do it that way, we'll probably do the D&D talk like every other week.
Yeah.
Because like my plan was to do it before every session. For the simple fact, Matt lives out of town from where we're at. So like he has plenty of time to come hang out and talk to you guys and with me about D&D. And it also kind of gets our minds prepared for D&D that night. For me, I know especially. Because otherwise, if we didn't do this tonight, I would be recording videos or doing a live stream. My brain would be scattered by the time I left here for that. But now it's kind of like I'm thinking and figuring out what I plan on doing tonight. So if you guys have any questions, just make sure you feel free. Leave it in the comment section below. I know there are people who wanted to see D&D stuff, so if you're watching this later, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Ask the questions. Give a like, subscribe if there's something you want to see. Maybe you're new to DMing. Hey, what's a cool puzzle idea? We'll go through some of the puzzles I've done where I got the inspiration from. Kind of explain how to set it up or how you could set it up.
Yeah. And and if there's anything specific, like if you're like creating a character or you're thinking about creating a character, and you have questions about that, you can ask. Matt has the books, so he can help you, and he has fairly good knowledge with a lot of it. And if he doesn't know it, usually if anybody asks him, he's able to look it up and find it really easy. So I think that'll do it for
Yep. And just last thing, if you're a player, remember you can do anything in D&D. If say Dustin wanted to pick up this stick and tie a rock to it and throw it, as the DM it's like, okay, you can do that, and then just try to judge your base. It has some of the info in that Dungeon Master book of, okay, well if they're doing that, maybe it's you just do a D4 for damage, or hey, I'm going to take this stick, light it on fire. Okay, maybe it's a D4, and then add an extra D4 for fire damage too. So you can do anything. Use your mind.
On that though, if you're doing it, make sure there's a purpose for it, because if you don't, your DM is most likely going to make it kind of bite you in the butt afterwards. Because like if you're just like, oh, I'm going to take a rock and I'm going to throw it in the air just because. Yep. Well, even if you roll good, might have it come back and like hit you or.
Yep. Or hey, he threw it in the water. Well, that water went down and just hit this giant toad monster that's going to come right out, use his tongue to drag you in the water and try to drown you.
I always try to keep in mind to not only keep stories moving, but keep it in like in a frame rate where like if you're watching it, like how I do it, like if you're watching a movie or playing a game.
Yep.
If you're playing a game and you just have countless boring, just useless crap flying at you, you're gonna get tired of the game and you're not gonna want to play it. Yep. That's how it's gonna be if you do it like that. And on here, also make sure that you play with people who aren't gonna take it too serious, but are gonna take it serious.
Yep.
You have to find that perfect blend. Just because if you have somebody taking it too serious, we've had this happen, where it's just it's not fun because it's like, oh, what's this person going to complain about now? Or if Matt says, oh, you can't do that, and the person's going to go, show me where.
Yep.
That stops the gameplay. It stops everybody's momentum, and it will make other players not want to come and play anymore. So
we just kind of said before, make a solid point of, we'll do it or not do it this time if you're okay with it, and then I'll look it up next time. Or make them roll for it. Say, hey, D20, if you can roll above a 10, we'll do it. If you can roll below a 10, we won't do it. Or flip a coin.
And if you have people who, like Jacob, who move and who still want to play with you, Skype, yeah. We've done it before that way, and I think we plan on doing it again because he still wants to play in our group, but obviously there's a big mileage difference. He can't fly in on every Friday and join us, but we're in the age of technology where you can do that stuff. Also, make sure if you are doing it, if you're doing it at somebody's house, make sure you're not going to kill all their internet, their data. That's why we are not doing a stream of the game, because the person that we play at has a very small cap, and I think maybe a minute into this we would have got his internet shut off. So
love you, Ed.
Thinking about you, we didn't do it just to get you in trouble. Yeah, I think, like I said, any questions, any comments, any concerns,
or what you want to see,
what you want to see, yeah.
More ideas. We can even go through making, like, say you want to be a human rogue or something. We'll sit down and go through making you a human rogue. Mm-hmm. Basics, you don't have to do it. Up to you. There's several apps that help. There's several, good ideas on the internet.
You have tools.
Just as a DM, just be pretty secretive about what you're doing. Because there's a couple times I was explaining something I wanted to do to somebody, and they're like, well, if you do that, I don't want to play anymore. It's like, well, now you're just trying to play a game on God mode, man. Like, that's only fun for like a day, and then it limits what I can do.
It's like playing Ark when you have all the things put up.
Oh my goodness. Right.
We did that, and it went from being like annoyingly hard to being annoyingly easy. Yeah. And it came to the point of, well, I guess we're just going to see what we can build.
Yep.
And it was just...
Yeah, it was like, you first do it, you pick up the stone on the beach, you get 2. We increase everything, you picked up stone, you got 483 stones. My inventory's full, but guess what? I maxed out all my strength. I can carry too much stuff. By the time you go sorting through your stuff, you're just bored out of your mind, and oh my goodness. It's fun for like a couple hours, but then then you don't want to do anything. And when you go back to normal, it's like, well, I've already done everything. Yeah.
Well, then it's like, God, I gotta spend 30 minutes farming all this crap. Can I just turn it up for a minute? Yeah.
And as the DM and the players, always try to remember, if you get something or put something out there, don't just make it. You have to use it maybe this one time, or you're using it tonight or during this adventure or current campaign, and then you're done with it, Like, for example, I gave all these guys black robes. I did it with the purpose of they're going to blend in the future. 2 of them, because they got them dirty, they decided to throw them right in the fire. And then they need them, they're like, oh, son of a gun.
Yeah. I was not one of them. I was one that actually went, we're probably going to need these later on.
which I think he said 5 minutes after they did it, and Burnham would be like, wait a minute.
It's like,
but that's what being the demon is fun, because you're like, or, you know, you think about it, you have a basic idea of what you want to do, you see this player did one thing, you can figure out a way that can bite the player in the butt because of what they did. It's like, huh, interesting. You think this little flower you picked has no consequence, but really, it's a mimic.
Or, like, you find a ring and it's magical and it's labeled something of, like, friendship. And you put it on because you think, oh, it's going to be great. And then you realize that what it does is every time you attack an enemy, you have to roll a d4 to give them health points back for the damage you do. Which sucks.
And usually when you do that stuff, you're rolling all fours and your attack is usually lower, so you're healing them the whole time. You're like, stab of health.
I think, like, I had the luck if I was getting, like, just, like, 5 or 6 damage. And I'd roll, like, a 4 for health, so I'd only do, like, a damage, like, 1 point or 2 in damage. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm really winning here.
Well, yeah, or kind of watch your players if they are being somewhat annoying. Like, we haven't really had any many issues, but I was listening to this one guy, and he said this wizard went around using detect magic on everything, just turning all this magic stuff off on every single door, just using it like crazy. So what the DM did was he put one of those giant spring fists behind the door, so when he used detect magic on like the 6th door, it fired open, nailed him, and slammed him against the wall for like 15 damage. You can bet he didn't use detect magic on like everything. Just always be careful what you do. Always think about it.
Yeah.
And have fun.
That's the most important part. Have fun. Like I said, don't take it too serious, because nobody wants to play with that guy or girl that is questioning everything the DM says, is going, here, show me in the book, or, you know, they just, like, drag it out so they get what they want. Nobody wants to play with that.
Our group have been lucky.
Yeah.
I had a few hiccups along the way, but for the most part, everyone's been great understanding. Life happens. Sometimes it's hard and frustrating because you don't understand at first. But we had a great group. Love you, Ed, Jacob, Clint, Dustin, which is him. We don't have 2 Dustins.
That'd be weird, yeah.
Brittany, love you if you want to come back.
Yeah.
She went from Jessica to Jessie. I even had her roll to see how big her manhood size was at D12, and she actually nailed a 12, so that's been kind of hysterical along the way.
I gave her that potion to go back.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to use it.
And I also gave her the potion, the bear pea, so she could turn into a bear.
That's right. Man, a bear just dragging her manhood on the ground would be... That'd crack me up.
Freaking A. Play to your strengths on your character. Remember your weaknesses. If you're afraid of water, don't go gung-ho jumping into water.
Yep. Like our character, Jessica to Jessie, he is very flirtatious. She got this bandana that the opposite sex is just instantly attracted to her. And she likes to flirt with everybody. She likes to have fun. She's like very flirtatious. So she goes in the bar and there's all these people. She goes on the stage and performs and tries to get free beer and free money because that's the character she is. So bravo on her part.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin, he doesn't put on shackles. So when, that plan came up, he's like, no, I'm going to stay back. You guys have fun in town. Kind of helped benefit him in favor, but... Or Clint. He doesn't like, he's the rogue, he's sneaky, he's going to try to kill any and everybody, and he's going to turn his back on people. Whether he...
Steal anything.
And he's done that, and great job.
Even when it's backfired. Like, I remember when we came upon that forest and there was that lady, that gold lady who didn't say anything, didn't acknowledge us. So he got a little ticked off and he tried stealing her necklace, and it backfired. But that's what his character would really do if his character was real.
And Jacob being the druid, he sees, snakes and, boars and alligators coming in, just looking at them. All they were doing was watching to see what they were doing because they were the ones that were in the forest. He took it as a sign of a threat. It really wasn't, so he had the alligators eat the snakes with a spell. So they all suffered from that too.
Yeah. Like when you had us all color-coded for that, and Jessie would have been just fine where she was at, and I didn't know it, So I jumped in the water because like what it essentially was, you jumped in the water and you went to a different dimension.
Yep. So if you were evil or did an evil act in the forest, you were red. If the forest didn't know what you quite were yet, or you were yellow, nothing bad would happen. And if
I think
you
I
were,
was yellow.
Then if you were good, you were green. Like, and I'm talking about your
aura.
Your aura. Thank you. So Dustin was red because he's lawful evil.
Oh, that's right.
Jessie was good because she's good. So he's like, well, everyone's sinking down. He jumps in because she's floating, doesn't sink, grabs her leg, and
pulls her straight down. Luckily, I didn't have to roll a strength test on that because I would have felt really bad if I ripped her leg off. Because my guy in our group is like probably the strongest pound for pound.
I think he is, yeah. And you're going against, 307 foot, 2 pound dragonborn to this, 115 pound human. 5'4" human. And you get, boom.
They'd be like, yeah. Like Lou Ferrigno coming up to somebody that size going, hey, can I pull your arms off?
Right.
Yeah, he probably could. But I think, yeah, that is where we're going to end it for this week. Leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this, give us the thumbs up. Jacob, hopefully you're doing good. I need to look in that one. Hopefully you're doing good in LA. And anybody who's watching, wish Jacob some good luck out there because he's doing cool things.
Ricky, we want to hear that song?
Yeah.
Post it. We'll sing it. If it's your own channel and it's a song,
we'll come to your channel and we'll type it. How about that? But yeah, if you leave that in the comments after this post, we will write it down and we will sing it the next time we're on, which is probably next week, I think. Well,
next week.
Next week is game night. That's right. Yeah. So it won't be next week. It'll probably be the following week. So
it's possible, but if you watch on Wednesday, possibly Thursday, we'll have an answer for you then. If you watch the gaming channel, most likely Friday the 13th, maybe Helldivers, whatever we're doing, watch the nightly stream, and we'll talk about D&D and what we're doing on Friday.
Mm-hmm. And we'll also be talking football because
heck yeah,
good stuff happening in football, man. Yeah. I'm ready for the season to start. Yeah. So yeah, hit that thumbs up button for us if you enjoyed the stream. If you found anything knowledgeable, helpful, make sure if you're a new subscriber, hit that new subscribe button for me. And make sure you hit on that post notification bell. That way you know when I upload videos or I go live. It's your best way to find out. YouTube uses an algorithm. The more you work on a channel, such as like hitting likes, commenting, just any interaction with the channel, is the more chance that you're going to have to get the notifications. They have made it where it's harder for smaller channels to get their stuff out there. Even bigger channels there have seen a dip in views because the algorithm is so screwed up. So if you want to make sure you have it, hit that post notification bell, hit the like button, comment after everything goes up.
Also, one last thing. If you subscribe, we'll give you a shout out. We had one today. Sierra, thank you so much.
Oh yes, Sierra, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Hope you liked the video. Hope to see you back.
Heck yeah. And stay tuned. Tomorrow, I think tomorrow I'm gonna do some Madden videos. I might do some house flippers. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how I want to do that. You're working, I believe.
I'm working, so I'm busy tomorrow. But if you have stuff you want to see, post below.
Yeah, if there's certain games you want to see. I know next month is Days Gone at the end of the month. I will be getting that. We will be doing the walkthrough on it. So, along with Spider-Man DLCs.
And if you're new, walkthroughs are we play it, we don't skip through it. It's actual live play.
You get the footage, yeah.
We're not perfect. We screw up. We jump out of a window that has broken glass and commit suicide on Friday the 13th. Sometimes it's funny so Jason doesn't kill you because he's trolling you. But you have fun.
Real quick, too, if Jason Voorhees is watching this, if you made it through the end, man, it's good to see you again. I was excited to see you last night. There will be more Friday the 13th gameplay, right? It's just, it's hard to really to do that one because we know it's a dead game. Gun Media has come out and said there will never, ever, ever be any new media on it, or any. The only updates you're gonna get are to fix any bugs. We've been playing Dead by Daylight also. That one constantly has updates on it. But if you guys like Dead by Daylight more than Friday the 13th or Friday the 13th More Than Dead by Daylight, let me know, and I will get more of that up for you. Next week is going to be probably a little more Helldivers than those ones, because I know people really enjoyed Helldivers. Yep. So, all right, guys, I'm going to stop yakking. We got to get going because I think it was... Yep.
You guys for ETA, so... Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night. We love you very much. It's a Friday night. If you're drinking and driving, do something for me. Take a DD with you. Don't drink. Don't drive. Well, drink. Don't drive. Yeah. If you can, yeah, stay at a friend's house. If you don't have a DD,
call a taxi.
If you're call a taxi. Get an Uber. Don't drink and drive. I know me personally. I've been affected by a friend who was killed in a drunk driving accident. You don't only affect yourself in it. You affect families, and you affect everybody you could possibly think of and not think of. So, and that goes for our 420 friendly people too. Just because it doesn't hit you like alcohol, it does impair your driving. It is a statistic. So make sure you're taking care of yourselves, and we love you very much, and we want to keep seeing you guys, and we want to keep chatting with you. So I will catch you tomorrow. I will have a live stream probably at night, and videos throughout the day. And so for me, I am Dustin Blaze, DBlaze84, and I was joined by Mr. Happy Hogan.
MR Hogan 93. That's on PlayStation if you want.
Yeah, we're always letting people play with us on the multiplayer games we have.
Yep.
If you have any suggestions on games, I will say, just for you green beans, I won't be doing Roblox.
Or Fortnite.
Or Fortnite. I probably won't do Apex again, just because it was fun when it first came out, but it's getting to be kind of like Fortnite, where you just have people who play it like 12 hours a day. I just don't. With what I do here for YouTube with you guys, I play variety. I'm not going to put out gaming content that's garbage. It may not be clean when it comes out when I make the videos, but I am getting better at doing that and editing. So, all right, guys, we will talk to you later.